Hi, everyone. How are you today? I hope you're doing great. Today, we're going to talk about karma. So, have you ever had that feeling that you did something good and something good came your way? Have you? Have you ever had that deja vu feeling where all of a sudden you felt like you've already been there before? And it's an eerie feeling. It is a very eerie sensation. Have you had that? If you have, let me know below in the comments because those type of stories is we want to know about. We want to hear more about those. As far as karma goes, now karma is it originated in Eastern philosophies, like Hinduism and Buddhism. And so, what is karma about? It's the belief that our actions, whether good or bad, come back to us in the future. Now, it may not be the immediate future, but it did come back to us eventually. And you may not even have understood why it came back. It's the law of cause and effect that suggests that every action has consequences. And these consequences may not always be immediate, like I just said. Everything we do, whether it's positive or negative, sets off a chain of events. This is often referred to as a ripple effect. And we all know how that ripple effect works. I mean, we've seen where they have shown you, where you throw a stone into a lake and the water just ripples out, and it can go so far that you don't even see how far it goes. It goes out of your sight, but it could affect something else down the road. And that's what a ripple effect is. If you help a stranger in a small way, it may lead to a good outcome when you least expect it. It's like similarly, that's a tough word. Every time we perform at an action, whether it's helping someone or being unkind, we create ripples in the universe that come back around to us. Karma is often about cause and effect, right? It's like you do something unkind to someone, they'll do something unkind to someone else. It just keeps triggering it. And I'll tell you how, I can give you a real example of how something like that could happen. I was at a store one day and I had left the store and I was waiting to cross the street when a young guy came out of the store and he stood there and held the door open for this woman that was walking in. And there was no eye contact from this woman at all. She just walked right by him and went in the store. Now, okay, some of you are saying, well, so what? Well, then I overheard as the boy or the young man was shutting the door, I overheard him mumbling under his breath, yeah, well, you're welcome. And now I'm not saying that everything that you see all the time has to have a thank you to it, but how hard would it have been for her to look up at him, smile, and say thank you? How hard would that have been? Instead, it was disappointing to this young man who did this because he had a sense of pride in him doing that. And now I don't even know in the future, did he ever bother to open a door for anybody again? I mean, it could have led to that. And having people say, hey, thanks for holding the door for me, you know, said to him then, so it is a ripple effect. It goes on and on and on. Now, hopefully, this young man was able to shrug off the fact that this person didn't even acknowledge something he was doing, and maybe he didn't even expect it. But it's just still the idea of an act of kindness not being received as an act of kindness, as more of an entitlement. That's probably taking it a little bit too far, but you get where I'm going with this. It's like you hear the stories where, say, a coworker or something steals a cell phone from somebody in the office, and then a few weeks later, somebody ends up stealing that cell phone from him and or her, and they get mad. They're just like, I can't believe that my phone got stolen. I can't believe either one of yous did that to begin with. Let's start out with that first. So, it is karma. It happens. I mean, you could be driving at the speed limit. Say you don't want to drive faster than the speed limit, because I can tell you, I drive a lot. And there's a lot of drivers out there that drive really fast anymore. And I know it's because our cars don't feel the same way as they did back in the day. So you get a much smoother drive, and sometimes you don't even realize that you're going that fast. But you get this person that comes up behind you, and they want to ride your bumper, maybe honk a horn, maybe give you a few unfriendly gestures. And you think, why don't you just go around me? Because obviously and hopefully you're in a slower lane when you're doing this. And then finally they get fed up, and so they just step on the gas and go flying by you. And the next thing you hear are the sirens, and you see the lights of the police car, and they come right up behind that person and pull them over. I mean, you got to smile when things like that happen, because it's karma. You continue to act like this is what happens. And I'll tell you, I'm just going to get a little off topic here, because like I said, I do drive a lot. And the one thing that I know on my GPS is it always gives you an ETA on when you're going to arrive at the destination. Now, they've already figured in the lights that you're going to go through. They've already put into it the time. If there's a slowdown somewhere, they've already added that to it. And if it's something that's really going to slow you down, they might offer you a chance to reroute yourself. But I can tell you for a fact, because I have tested this out, that me going faster and still having some little setbacks here and there, which you're all going to do that, especially if you're driving on the highways, that I might have arrived 1 minute earlier than what the GPS said. Maybe 1 minute earlier. It's usually not much more than that. So you're not gaining anything by driving at a much faster speed or cutting in and out of the traffic to get yourself there on time if you're late for something, which whose fault is that? But it just puts us all in jeopardy when cars are doing that. But you have a person who will make fun of, say, an elderly person, and because they're in a scooter, and they tell them to get out of their way, or stay home, or say rude things. Later in life, this person ends up with bad arthritis, and they end up in a scooter for the rest of their life, or a wheelchair. You know, you could say, well, that could have happened anyways. It could have, but it might not have been. It might not. It might have been because they put that karma out years ago. You also have the good karma, where you have, like, say, a business person who goes to work for a nonprofit, goes and volunteers their time, I should say, at a nonprofit, and later on, the director of that nonprofit goes to them to purchase goods and services from them. So it might not be for a couple of years. It just, they may have remembered the name, whatever, but they've done that, and it's a good karma. You could have, like, say, a music teacher who goes out of their way to help their students succeed, and one of the students does exceed, and she joins an orchestra, and she actually recommends that teacher for a job there because the teacher was so good and she knew how good the teacher was. So, things like that happen all the time. It's just, good and bad karma. I mean, we see it on TV now a lot, and in both everyday lives, and some of the things that are happening bad out there, even in the political world. And this is not going to be ever a political channel, but in some of these, horrible events of shooters and stuff, you stop and think what happened in their lives. I mean, something something triggered this event to happen, and it's so unfortunate because so many people get hurt that are just living their daily lives, and it's not fair. It really is not fair. So we have to reflect on how understanding karma can help guide us to live more thoughtfully and align with values like compassion, fairness, and mindfulness. That's what it's all about. And then we get to deja vu. um, Man, it really questions where you've been or what's happening, because deja vu is a very eerie experience. It's an unsettling situation or sensation that you feel when you go through deja vu. It's it really is. And so if you've experienced this, please let me know in the comments, what happened to you and how it made you feel, because I know, for a fact how it feels because I've had it happen to me. And I had it happen when I took my kids when they were younger. So this was a while ago, um, to Disneyland. Now, I've been to Disneyland a lot when my kids were young. I only lived 30 minutes away from it. So, of course, we were there. And, we do the usual things all the time, the same things. And same rides and all that. Well, this day in particular, as we were walking through the park, they decided they wanted to go into this one store. I did not want to go into it. So I told them I'm going to go over and sit on the bench over here while you guys go in. And while I was sitting on that bench, someone came up to me. A person came up to me and was just talking, or just everyday stuff to me. And I got that eerie sensation, like I've already been here. I've been on this bench before. I've talked to this person before, and it's such a weird feeling. And you start looking around like, what the heck's going on? But it only lasts for seconds. Deja vu does not last longer than a few seconds. It seems like a long time, but it doesn't last for long. It's just a weird, weird sensation. And one of the theories on this is, and the theory that I believe in the most, is it's a called a glitch in your memory glitches. And it's actually where, long term and short term, the event that you're watching or you're in, uh, your memory glitches, and it goes into your long term and your short term at the same time. And you're seeing things slower than you normally would see them. And so it's pulling from your long term and pulling from your short term. And it just creates this uneery sensation, that you've been there before, when it's just a glitch in your brain. It's your brain's just misfiring at that particular moment in time. And I do believe in that. And it's, geez, I can't even tell you how that feeling is so bizarre. But you can have this happen anywhere. Like you walk into, a friend's house or a coffee shop that you've never been into, or you go to a little cafe in a town that you've never been at before, and you walk in, and it's almost like exactly what's going to happen next. Like, the waitress is going to come up to you 5 minutes from now, say, instead of right away. You just, and it takes over you for that fleeting moment, and then everything goes back to its regular speed, and um, you realize you've never been there before, and it's okay. So it's just a weird thing that happens, and there's a lot of other theories out there, but I wanted to just talk more about the one that I felt uh, really hits home with that. I mean, because they have the other ones where it's you're in an alternate time or a parallel universe, and I myself don't really believe in that, so I don't really want to talk about that because of that. I just don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing to believe in, and if you want to believe in it, that's okay. It is what happens out there in the world. So let's talk about whether it's the universe's way of teaching us lessons through karma, or our brain's quirky tricks with deja vu. These two strange but fascinating phenomena remind us that life's a bit more mysterious than we think. So, whether you believe in the power of karma or have ever experienced the uncanny feeling of deja vu, both concepts offer a fascinating insight into the mysteries of life. And, that's the things that make me curious is the mysteries of life. They remind us that life is full of unknowns, mysterious connections between our actions, our memories, and our place in the universe. Perhaps the real takeaway here is that we should live thoughtfully, knowing that every action creates ripples that will come back to us. And at that, and sometimes the oddest feelings like deja vu may be glimpses of something greater. They do believe that too. I'd love to hear about your experiences with karma. I really would. I think it's an interesting subject that people want to know if you've experienced karma and where it came from, or if you had deja vu and did you get that eerie feeling inside. Um, so let's be thoughtful when we're out there in the world. Let's have some kindness and work well with others. I guess that's the best way. And if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. It's difficult to be a new creator, so it's always very helpful when you do this. And if you notice my environment's a little bit different, it's because the beach house, that is what I call it, that I usually videotape in, is too hot. It's just too hot for me to sit out there and do something like this. So I have moved myself inside my living room, and so I'll be doing most of my videos from here from now on, until the weather starts to cool a little bit, and then that room will get too cold, and I'll have to come inside again. So um, until then, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe and like, and if you enjoyed this video, let me know. Leave me a comment. On how you feel about it and whether it's of interest to you or it wasn't of interest to you. Either way, that would be great. Now, the next thing you'll see is my latest video will show up over here. No, let's say it's going to show up over here this time. And my face is going to show up over here. Now, if you haven't subscribed, you can just click on my face and you can subscribe right from that. So do that if you haven't done that. And until the next one, bye.